Our next presentation will be on a new building on Salem Street to replace the parking lot at 124 to 126.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of Resident Association. Thank you for having me tonight. For the record, my name is Dan Toscano, attorney at law at the law office located at 62B Commercial Wharf East, 02110. I represent Colin Yip, who's to my immediate left, who's the owner of 124-126 Salem Street, which is located in between Noyes Place and Baldwin Place. It's the parking lot that's located there, and also the owner of 3 Baldwin Place, which is actually the building at the corner of Baldwin Place and Salem Street. The architectural team here today, we have Frano, who's a resident of Prince Street, been here 28 years, and to my left is Diana, who's a resident of Unity Street, and they put together a terrific model for us to view, and also some photos that we'll be able to show tonight. What we're requesting support for is a mixed-use building. I'll tell you a little bit about what the original plans were that were filed with ISD, and then what we've done meeting with the community members at direct vote, and how we've changed those plans to address some of the concerns that the residents have had. So the plans that were filed, it was originally mixed use, was 13 residential units. Starting with the second floor, there was 9 residential units in the front of the building, and then in the back of the building was 4 residential units. The first floor was 500 square feet of commercial space that was going to be utilized for restaurant use. There was 6 parking spaces on Salem Street, and also with the front, the facade, the main entrance on Salem Street to the building, the property. On the roof, there was a common roof deck. There was also an elevator, which an elevator will remain in the building, but the elevator shaft went above the roof line up to 69 feet high, and there was also 2 stairwells. Because of the common roof deck, you needed 2 means of egress. And the 2 means of egress, there were 2 stairwells with head houses that accommodated those stairs. And what we've done after we've had a number of meetings with some residents, we held on October 21st, we had what's called as an abutters informational meeting. We informed all the abutters, all the owners of the property in Baldwin Place, in Noyes Place, and of course on Salem Street, directly across the street and next to us. And we, in that abutters meeting, what we presented our proposal. I think one thing, I just want to backtrack. The original building went up to 59 feet high, not the 55-foot height limit, but it wasn't encompassing the entire building. It was just the front of the building, as you see front of. That was the original plan, the front of the original plan, and this bump went up to 59 feet. After meeting with the abutters, of course, there was some concerns. Also, in addition to the abutters meeting, we had private meetings with some of the residents, some of the direct abutters who could not make that meeting. And based on everything we heard and all the issues and concerns, we made significant changes to this property. First and foremost, one of the most sacred things that we have in the North, that is the height, the 55-foot height limit. So what we did is we eliminated the 59-foot height of the building, took that front off, and we went down 55 feet. Also, we decreased the number of the units from 13 residential units to 9 residential units. In turn, the other thing that we've done is the commercial space. We made the commercial space a little bigger from 500 square feet to 900 square feet, and eliminated 2 parking spots and had 4 parking spots. We're also going to present a little proposal, a little change that the parking is going to change, and we want to throw that idea out to the neighborhood tonight. The other major changes we made to this building, rather than the common roof deck, which we were required by code to have the elevator up to the roof and have the 2 means of egress, we took away the common roof deck and we added private roof decks to 1 for the top unit in the back and 2 for the front units for the front unit. And what we did by doing that, we were able to eliminate the elevator shaft that went up to 69 feet. So no elevator is going to go above the roof line. There'll still be an elevator in the property, but not above the roof line. Also, by taking away the common roof deck, we're able to eliminate one of the head houses for the second means of egress to the roof. But one head house which will remain, which will be, if you're looking at Salem Street, so Salem Street here, will be on the right side, and that will really house the mechanicals in there, access to mechanicals, and you need a means of egress to the property. What we also did by changing it to 9 residential units, we really took into consideration the type of folks that are moving into the neighborhood. Some of the units in the front, which we'll see on the second, and then the front will go through each floor. But just in a nutshell, what we see on the second and third floor, they're exactly like there's 2 studio apartments in the front, and on the 4th and 5th floor, the units are townhouses, so they occupy the 4th and the 5th floor. And there are some smaller units that to accommodate some of the young professionals that are moving into this neighborhood, that they're open floor plan, that do not, not looking for a lot of space, don't want to spend a lot of time in their apartments, some business folks. The back units are all 2-bedroom units on the 2nd and 3rd floor, two-bedroom units. Those are 831 square feet in spacious open floor plans, 2-bedroom residential units. The 4th and 5th floor, what we took into consideration, what we heard is we need more families here. We want to accommodate for families. So the back unit is a duplex. It's over 1,600 square feet. It could be a 3-bedroom. Right now it's designated as a 3-bedroom and a den, but it could accommodate a 4-bedroom, but at the very least a 3-bedroom, because we heard, well, not that we heard, we know we want to keep families here. The neighborhood is growing, families want to stay here. So we try to take all the concerns that the neighborhood had and come up with this new plan. So what I'm going to do is turn it over to Fronto, and we're going to go through this plan floor by floor, and we're prepared to ask some questions, answer some questions, and
I'm going to go very quickly through here. I think we're all familiar with the Salem Street and the parking lot. This is the figure or the shape of the building. It's an L configuration, and there's a small courtyard here which brings light to units both here in this building as well as in Baldwin Place. This is Noyes building. This is John Corey's building next door. Can you take I'm going to jump to the cross section of the building. This is, I can draw on this because I'm the architect. This is Salem Street here. That's Salem Street, and you're looking up Salem toward Bova's, toward the waterfront. And what Daniel was saying is that the project has 4 different residential floors above right now, are commercial and parking. First floor, these are units, one unit here, there's a unit here, and then these are the townhouse units. So this unit is one unit, and this is that large unit for the 1,600 square feet. So we're trying to create a diversity of units that are, good for, let's say, a single young professional up to somebody with a family like I have here. I've got 2 daughters here that were born and raised here. So the alternative now for the ground floor is to have a commercial space that used to be about this big, to grow it a little bit more, because Colin has taken the units from 13 to 9 units, and this helps make up some of that loss. With 4 parking spaces, this is the entrance. There's an existing curb cut off of Salem Street, and this is the entrance to the building with a stair, elevator. And if we flip this around, I've rehearsed this a few times. You go up to the 2nd floor. The 2nd and 3rd floor are identical. You have 2 units in the front. Each one of these units is they're about 400 square feet each. This unit is 820 square feet. At this 2nd level, you have a courtyard which is elevated. It's on the 2nd floor. So you come out of the building in the fire stairs, you come out of the building onto this upper level, and you can flow right down onto the property, and then there's a passageway, a public passageway, that's owned by the city of Boston that takes you out onto Noise. So that allows us to have an egress in case of fire. This will be alarmed, and people will not use this on a regular basis. This would just be for in case of an emergency. But what it allows is that you don't have two egress doors out onto the street. You just have the one door coming in, which I think makes the street a better environment. On the third floor, as I said, it's identical to the floor below. It just doesn't have access to this garden space. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. And then on the fourth floor, this is where the townhouse starts. So you have the townhouse starting here. You have the stairs going up to the second floor of the townhouse. And same here. You have the first floor, you come in on the fourth floor, and then you walk up to the fifth floor. And same with this unit here. You come in here and you walk upstairs to the upper floor. This is the larger, the 3 to 4 bedroom unit. And I think by speaking with the neighborhood, what we were able to do, as Daniel mentioned, is we didn't have to take this elevator all the way up to the roof. In fact, we only have to take that elevator to the 4th floor. We don't have to take it to the 5th floor. Okay, and then to the top, the roof, we now have eliminated the elevator core coming up to the roof. We still have a head house with a stair that comes out. This stair is connected to the main stair so that you can maintain the rooftop equipment. Rooftop equipment, they're not too big. They're about this big. They're behind a fence, a screen. Then you have these 3 roof decks. Now these roof decks each have its own head house to the private dwelling below. That allows us to eliminate a second large head house that we previously had that was a concern to the abutters. And so we only have this one here and then these 2 small ones. And if you want to know how tall these are about 8 feet off of the roof. The other head houses were up to, as Daniel said, 17 feet because of the need for elevator mechanicals. Okay, so now we saw the cross section. The elevation on Salem Street, you're looking on Salem at Baldwin. Baldwin's here. This is an existing building. This is a building that Colin Yip owns. This is Noyes Place here, and this is an existing building that John Corey owns. And this is the property of the parking from this point to this point. So our interest is to continue commercial along the face, along the street, to use brick. And we have balconies which are set back from the elevation to provide depth. And then we have a screen which is using the same materials that have inspired us in the North End, a wrought iron, but it's used in a different way, a more ornamental, decorative way that makes references to windows in the neighborhood that you see here. On the back side, the courtyard side, here you're looking the exact opposite way. You're actually looking towards Salem Street. This is Noyes Place. This is John Corey's building. This is Baldwin right here. And you're looking at the back of the new proposed building with the stairs going up to the little courtyard. This is a view looking at the north at the courtyard facade, so it gets sunlight if the Baldwin Place doesn't shade it too much. And it's a very green environment. Let me show you a view of the courtyard. This is the courtyard. This is that south-facing wall. Salem Street is this way. These are the materials, a wood deck with growing materials with stucco, a very simple stucco rear because there is stucco used on that back side. And then on the front facade, to conclude, you could pull that. On the front Salem Street, that's a view looking north from Baldwin, looking up past I'm sorry to keep referring to Bova's, but it is a landmark. Past Bova's, up Salem Street, and you can see the use of the fire escape. We're interested in the depth that the fire escape creates as it protrudes out into the street. In our case, we're coming into the street. I'm setting it back, carving back. Here's a view looking back down Salem Street. You can see the entrance to the residential, the parking, the parking entry, the commercial, and then this is a view from up there where that gentleman is on the 4th floor, looking down. And this is Mr. Dr. Bova's property here with the bay windows at Salem Prince. So, just very quickly, bring the boards back. One of the things that we've been concerned about, and that has to do with the street, number one, and number two, the construction that is going to occur on the site. I need the ground floor.
What Toronto is going to explain from the ZLC subcommittee meeting, there are two changes that we anticipate making. One would be the parking on the first floor and make it the entire first floor commercial space. And there's a number of reasons why we're doing that, and we'll explain it. The other one that was presented to the ZLC that is slightly different tonight, the existence of the private roof decks, the intention was to have a hatch to open up from the unit, open up to the roof. We eliminated a hatch. There's public safety reasons why, why we've done that, and Colin and the architect made a decision that hatch may not just work, so that's why we added the head house to each of the private decks. However, we're not adding three, even though there's 3 private decks. There's going to be one, and they're going to be accessed from the unit. One here, one for the back, one as you see here, and I believe the third one is from the existing.
It's absorbed by the existing area, just to minimize the amount of mass.
Right.
So, one of the issues, and this has been raised in some of our meetings, is the question of the quality of the street front. And that is the concern, the potential concern for the cars coming in and out of the property, and the quality of the street front in terms of Salem Street being a street that's highly active, a lot of people walking. There are not a lot of examples of garage doors. I mean, I think we can think of one. And so, as an architect and urban designer, to introduce a garage door in a place where I don't really feel as though it really belongs, even though I completely understand how sacred parking is in North End, having a car here for a while, it became a question if we just wanted to put it out there and share it with the community here. And so we had this, I just presented this, extending the commercial 4 spots. One could do this. Extend the commercial a little bit more to support that kind of activity at the street, reduce it down to 3 parking. It starts to look a little bit disproportionate in terms of the amount of ground floor plan to the parking spaces. So in this case, we just questioned. We thought, well, what if in this project we don't have any parking? This becomes a large commercial space with bikes for all the residents, to really promote the idea that when you live in the city, you come to the city to share in the convenience of what the density of urban life brings, like markets and the subway and alternative forms of transportation, car sharing, and so we thought we'd share that with you all to see, how you felt about it. I mean, it's a little different, but I think it's something that's really worth discussing.
And the other thing, it brings some continuity with the facade of the building, rather than seem to be too busy with commercial gate and then the door opening. And then the other question that we thought of is, how do you you mentioned public safety, but how do you need to put something there, whether it's a bell, whether it's some type of noise to a beeping noise to to inform people that cars are coming in and out.
It becomes
Really-
a management question of,
really
of
wanna
a
disturb.
problem. The other issue too that nested into this idea was that in order to have any kind of commercial that's this size, you need basement for storage. There's no way that you can really function with just 500, 900 square feet of commercial. You need to go down. Well, going down means excavation, and excavation means shoring these buildings on both sides because these have half basements. They're half a floor up. This building is at grade. So you have to shore the foundations of these buildings. So in talking to the abutters, one of the biggest concerns, especially for the businesses, is mitigation. How are you going to get excavation trucks and parking them and having to station police officers? So in this case, you can take the storage out of the basement and put it somewhere on this plan. You've got a little bit more room and you've got no excavation.
And you eliminate the excavation on that particular proposal. And I know Jim's standing up, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm much more
I'm gonna
detail.
I'm sorry.
add one more thing that each unit has, and another concern with the neighborhood is trash. Every unit the building is equipped with a trash chute that will go directly into a trash room on the ground level that will be taken out by a property manager on the appropriate night. So to eliminate, a lot of trash going out. So there's a trash chute in the building. With that said, the other thing I'll mention that we are, and I know the concern of this board is to have your appeal filed and your appeal date. We do not have an appeal filed as of yet. We anticipate an appeal being filed, relatively soon by next week, getting a ZBA hearing in January. So I know this is a lot to take in, so we're here to answer any questions.
Okay, we have limited time because we have another presentation, but any butters to the property? Go ahead, Mary Ann.
I'm on the property, I had an issue, the issue was addressed. The only thing is, I do not like the facade, and they know that.
Okay, thank you. George?
I've worked with neighbors with Collins for, since he bought the building in the corner of Baldwin and Salem Street. They've been really good at informing us and stuff like that. We are concerned about the digging. We think that digging is gonna be terrible for flow on Salem Street. It's one of our main drags. So we do support no digging if possible, because we do have businesses there. We have our tenants who live there, who need to have access. And we find through most of the projects that have taken place in the neighborhood, some of them can be extremely invasive. That's a big plot of land, to start digging and bringing trucks and, bulldozers and things to remove all that dirt. So that was our only concern, and Paulie and his team have addressed it if they can make that change on the plans.
Okay, very good. Sandra?
Yeah, I'm not in a butter, but I just want to say I've followed a presentation from a previous one. I think that the architects and the owners, this has been the model of how this committee is meant to work. They've responded to concerns about the committee. They brought back building height to as of right. They've designed the building that meets, fine, we could disagree about the facade, but there's something about, it's a welcome proposition to have something that presents commercial space, which is more of what we need on the ground floor in this neighborhood to preserve the character of the neighborhood. And they've engaged us in a way in their thinking about what if the first floor would be more commercial? What if we were to eliminate the parking, which I think is a welcome first in a dialogue between designers and the neighborhood. So I applaud them in that respect.
Thank you, Sandra. Bob Venuti?
Bob Venuti, Commercial Street Abutters Association. The only thing that's disturbing me is, what guarantee do we have that your tenants are not gonna have cars in this street? If that's the case, I had no problem eliminating the parking, but I wanna see a guarantee, and I wanna see it probably in writing, that your tenants cannot have a car in the north end. I mean, we listen to this all the time, we approve things, and then all of a sudden, everybody has another car.
Right.
So I want to see your lease in writing saying no vehicles allowed, period, and no residential parking spots taken.
Mr. Venuti, I would love to say yes, but I think you know that you cannot make that guarantee in a lease that says a tenant cannot have a motor vehicle. The beauty of living in the neighborhood is access to the public means of transportation that we have in the city, Haymarket Government Center. We also, as the mayor's initiative over the last several years, is the bike path. That's why Colin is putting every unit will be assigned a bike rack, which will be inside the property, and to promote, public transportation, to promote access to the bikes and everything. But you just can't do that. I mean, love to do it, but you just can't tell tenants, people, landlords, you just can't tell landlords that their tenants can't have cars.
I mean, I don't live on Salem Street, but
Do you have a
goddamn,
motor
there's a problem
vehicle?
now on Salem Street.
Yes.
I agree, everybody has a car.
Yesterday,
And
we
place to put
had,
it.
we had a presentation from the Commissioner of Transportation in Boston, and he brought up this interesting number where there are 4,000 resident, parking stickers, and there's only 1,500 spots. Right, so it's the problem now, the problem is it to increase the supply or decrease the demand? So now, right now, we have proposed 4 or 5 spots, but overall, if you take those away, is it gonna affect the neighborhood that much? And also, the people that are currently on the parking lot, they are, they're paying for the parking lot for a reason, because they don't want to park on the car because their car gets hit or, damaged. Can't find it. And I've personally called a couple of garages around the area, and they have open spots that people don't take.
I think, can they park on the roof?
On the roof? We
What's
can
that?
crane them up.
On this roof. Okay, we've got to go to a vote. Was anybody,
Or do we want to vote?
I was going to suggest, Mr. President, we haven't filed our appeal yet, and we threw out a suggestion. We have no problem with deferring the vote until next month, if that's what the residents would like to do, till our appeal is filed. I don't anticipate that the violations on the denial letter will change, other than we do have a height excessive on our original, which will be eliminated
Right.
because we're not above 55 feet. I don't anticipate the violations changing, but we will get a new denial letter. So it's up to the residents, if they felt that we want to move
we're not going
forward.
to, we probably won't have time for this kind of a presentation.
No, we can make it very short.
We should let them know specifically what information, additional information should be presented in December.
That's right, if you can email me the
Yes.
specific
Yeah.
questions you want us to address, the specific, we'll come in, we'll adjust those issues, and if there's any significant changes, of course, we'll address them.
I have 2 questions, Daniel. Where will the staging area be? And second, what are the hours of operation for construction?
I don't know if we've gotten that far yet, but what we will do, and what we've committed to the neighborhood, that we will have an itinerary to the abutters, and once we have an idea, put together a construction plan to inform the abutters what's gonna happen in advance, so they're well informed, if the street's gonna be closed, if staging's gonna be up. I think what we're gonna do, I think, and Colin and Veronica will talk more about it a little bit better. It's gonna be a wood frame, which will be very clean. There's no, the good thing about this, we're not demolishing a building and adding a building. Everything is brand new. It's gonna come in and just be put up, and it's gonna be very clean.
We're talking to a construction
Yeah,
manager
so we don't-
right now
I
about
can't-
how to build the cleanest, quickest, and least disruptive building ever built in the North End.
But I assure you, once we have that itinerary in, this neighborhood will have it.
Okay, so should we bring them back to DLC?
Only if they want to attend it. I am going to add a neighborhood discussion about the project to identify what concerns, questions, issues remain, so that we can inform them for the presentation in December. If you want to be at that TLC meeting, which is Tuesday night, you're certainly welcome, but you don't need to.
Okay, thank you. So we'll defer the vote.
Yeah, that'll save you some time.
Okay, yeah.
Do you have your email address?
My email address, it's D Toscano Law, TOSCANOLAW @gmail.com.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, can I ask a question?
Thank you for not yelling at me.
What plan are you gonna put forth to the zoning board? Parking or the no parking?
Well, right now, I mean, we're gonna hear concerns, but we would love to put together no parking in the commercial.